Death is a part of life. It touches every single one of us. So why is it so difficult to talk about?
We've been made to feel so fearful of it because we don't see it. It's been medicalized and institutionalized and industrialized and taken out of the home and given to strangers to deal with. You know, we don't even deal with our own loved ones' bodies anymore. And that used to be a community event. It used to be someone in a community dies and it's like the whole community comes together to share in that sorrow and celebration. And now we've outsourced all of that. And so no kidding, people are afraid and don't know what to do.
Now I realize this topic is uncomfortable, but before you click away or change the channel, what if I told you that many people believe by facing your own mortality can lead to living a better life at any age?
We live in a death-denying culture, and I think many of us are plagued on a daily basis by the fear of death. It stops us from contemplating how we can live a meaningful life because we're just constantly trying to push that thought, that fear aside. But by looking at that anxiety, people don't realize they can actually lift it by facing death, by facing our mortality. The benefits are being able to live in peace.
The two major transitions in life are birth and death. Doulas for birth have been around since the 60s, comforting and providing extra support for expectant mothers. Over the last few years, doulas are coming full circle, with the emergence of death doulas, providing similar support, but for end-of-life care.
We have seen a change in the birthing process over many years with midwives coming. We've seen more home births, and I wouldn't say this is something new. It's more of a kind of a reclaiming process, and we're beginning to see that happen with death and dying.
I invite all of you to sit comfortably, with your feet on the floor, hands resting in your laps. Take several deep breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. A death doula is a professional trained in end-of-life care who offers comfort, information, and guidance for people through the dying process. Our job is to help people to live well right until the end, and then hopefully to help them die well, however they choose to define that. We also support family members because they have a truly monumental and heart-wrenching task of taking care of their loved one through the dying process. So someone needs to help take care of them as well. So that's one of our roles, is to help them feel present and connected through the dying process with their loved one.
Death doulas can also assist families who may have different opinions.
One is when someone is terminally ill and is trying to come to terms with that themselves and then someone in their family, usually someone really close like a spouse or a child, is in total denial, isn't open to those conversations. So that's one conflict. And the other is, and it's actually one I experienced myself, when someone dies and the loved ones left behind have different ideas about how to now deal with their loved one who's gone. And there can be a lot of conflict there. And if there isn't somebody outside of the loved one circle to be there to help facilitate conversation or facilitate a specific ceremony with specific steps, it can be so painful and leave just a tremendous amount of unresolved grief and need and a lot of suffering.
It's so important to have these conversations with our family and loved ones, but how much should we involve our children?
Oftentimes, as parents, we want to protect our children. We want to insulate them from negative experiences or emotions, and certainly death would be top of that list. There's a parenting trend that's kind of in line with that, where parents feel that their purpose is to mow down any obstacles in their child's way. It's called lawnmower parenting. And their role is to protect their child from anything that might impede their happiness. But lawnmower parenting, or trying to protect our children at all cost, is really doing them a disservice, because children are experiencing death right now, and they certainly will in their future. So as parents, we really need to equip our children with how to grieve in a healthy way. So there's ways that we can engage our children in age-appropriate ways to equip them for the future so they can have a healthy relationship with death.
I think it's important that children understand permanency and loss and have an opportunity to actually grieve themselves, because the more they understand and are exposed to the process, that's an opportunity for them to deal with their own emotions, because those are going to come up for them in this process.
Exploring end of life can provide an opportunity to reprioritize our goals and values.
So a lot of people think that death doula work is about death. It's really about living. It's about how to live the life that you want.
The most profound lessons I've learned in life came from loved ones on their deathbed, teaching us to take a moment, evaluate what's truly important, and making time to do the things we love.
Inevitably things come up. Like someone might say to me, well, the most important thing to me is being outside as much as I can be, being in the mountains or being at a lake, and I don't ever do that. I'm so busy. I live in the city and I don't have time for that. And so we would create some sort of action that they could commit to start, spending more time in the mountains or at the lake, but making those sorts of commitments so that you're truly living your most meaningful life now and not waiting to the end and then having regrets about not having done all those things that really mattered to you.
It's so easy to take life for granted, thinking we have lots of time, until we don't.
I think it's really important that we have conversations about this, and instead of hiding it away, that we bring it out into the open. So really, I want to see a more promotion of death awareness rather than death avoidance. And just because we're talking about death doesn't mean we want to die. And I think that's what people are concerned about, that this is morbid, or there's some fears, or somehow if I talk about death, I'm showing that I want to die. But really, for me, this is about getting the most out of life. If I know that there is an end at some point in my life, I want to make sure my life is meaningful.
Maybe we can do death better by learning to have a healthy relationship with death, so we can die without fear and remorse, but with acceptance and dignity. But for now, may you live fully, live deeply, with meaning, with passion, with love.